Let's take another look at integers and representing integers. So first we're going to look at the number line. So as a reminder, and you can always use your resource packet and cheat sheet to help you, as you go to the right on the number line, your numbers get bigger. As you go to the left, your numbers get smaller. Negatives work the opposite way. A bigger negative is a smaller number. So first one, we've got positives. So from 0 to 5, I'm going to count off 1, 2, 3. This is at 4. Number 2, we're working with negatives. So be careful. Instinct is to say negative 15, negative 16, negative 17, negative 18. That is wrong. We go opposites. So I start on the right side and work backwards. So negative 10, negative 11, negative 12. Number 3, again, we're dealing with negatives, so I'm going to start on the right side and work backwards. Negative 31, negative 32, negative 33, negative 34. If I keep going, it does match up, negative 35. So the dot is at negative 34. Number 4, again, we're dealing with negatives. I can start from negative 10 if I want to, or negative 15. If I do negative 10, negative 11, negative 12, negative 13, negative 14, negative 15, this is negative 16, negative 17, negative 18, I'm going to double check, negative 19, negative 20, that matches. So our integer is at negative 18. So that was when you're given a number on a number line, writing what that integer is. Now we're going to look at plotting on a number line. So first one says plot the number 6 on the horizontal number line. This is 0 right here. So positives are going to the right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just going to double check. 7, 8, 9, 10. That matches up. So our dot right on the number line there, and I'm going to write the number 6 is 6. Next up, we have negative 19. So reminder that we're working backwards. So if I start from negative 15, we go negative 16, negative 17, negative 18, negative 19. And if I kept going, that would match with negative 20. Number 7, we're plotting negative 12 on the number line. So I'm starting at the right, going the reverse, going backwards. Negative 11, negative 12. I'm going to keep counting just to make sure I did it right. Negative 13, negative 14, negative 15, that matches up. And last one, negative 24. So we've got negative 10, negative 20 is where I'm going to start. So 21, negative 22, negative 23, negative 24 is right here. I'm going to keep counting to make sure I didn't make a mistake. Negative 25, negative 26, negative 27, negative 28, negative 29, negative 30. So it matches up. Now let's look at opposites of opposites. So remember that kind of a negative sign can be used as a negative. It can be used as meaning the word opposite, because a negative is the opposite of a positive. Negative 9 is the opposite of positive 9. So if I look at this, the number itself, or this outside, is talking about what is the opposite of negative 9. So that's what I'm going to write here. That means what is the opposite of negative 9? Well, what is the opposite of negative 9? Positive 9. So that's what the actual value is. The opposite of negative 9 is positive. It's kind of like a double negative. If I say, I don't never go to McDonald's, that means I do, because it's that double negative. So here, again, we have this negative on the outside. That means the opposite of negative 15. Well, what is the opposite of negative 15? Positive 15. Here, it's got the negative on the outside again. This means, what is the opposite of negative 4? The opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. This one, what is the opposite of negative 11? What is the opposite of negative 11? Positive 11. Oops, that should be an 11 right there. Okay, last part. We put the chart on here, but the chart is also in your resource packet. So we got our keywords here. Our negative words are right here on the left side, and our positive words are right here on the right side. Okay. So first off, it says Juan made a profit of $75. So my key word that I see here is profit. So I'm going to look on here, profit. Where do I see the word profit? I see profit right here, which is a positive number. So that means it's just going to be positive 75. As a reminder, when we're doing positive numbers, we don't need to put a plus sign. Next up, Stephanie is $20 in debt. So the keyword I see is debt. If I look on my chart, debt is right here, and that's on the negative side. So being in debt means you owe money. That's a negative thing, so it's negative 20. Number 15, a submarine is 55 feet below sea level. So I see below sea level. If I think of a submarine, it's underwater. And if I double check here, below sea level is negative. So that is going to be a negative 55. The kite is at an altitude of 30 feet. Altitude, you probably don't think of it that often. You don't hear that as often. Think about a kite though, it's probably up in the air rather than below ground. But also if we look on our chart, altitude is right here, the height of an object in relation to the ground. So altitude is above, it is positive, it's up in the air. So it's just positive 30. Now we're gonna look at the different scenarios of what 0 means or represents. So in a scenario, you've got Brad's grade went down 3% today. We're not gonna worry about this actual number. We're just looking at the scenario where we're talking about Brad's grades. So what would 0 represent in this situation? So we talked about it going down 3%. It could go up 0%, but if it went down 0 or up 0, what does that mean? Brad's grade did not move forward or backwards. Do our grades move forward or backwards? No. It goes up and down, not forward and backwards. Brad's grade stayed the same, so it didn't go up or down. Well, I see that keyword here, and that makes sense. Your grade can go up, it can go down, but if it changed 0, it stayed the same. It didn't go up or down. And then I'm going to double check the last one. Brad is on the ground. That doesn't make sense. We're talking about grades. Number 18, Jen is in her basement, which is 10 feet below ground. So we're talking about below ground and her basement. What would a value of 0 represent in this situation? So Jen is staying in the same place, not moving forwards or backwards. Well, we're not really talking about forwards or backwards here. We're talking about a house. And we're talking about where it's below ground, which means the opposite would be above. So we're not really talking about forwards or backwards. Jen is at sea level. Well, is her house on the sea? I don't see anything talking about sea, so it's probably not a house on the water. So let's check the last one. It says Jen is at ground level. Well, we are talking about ground here. That makes sense. 0 is that middle spot, which is the ground, not below ground, not above ground, just at the ground. And then last one. At the beach, Mia saw a fish swimming at 5 feet below sea level. What would a value of 0 represent for this situation? So we're talking about the sea. We see a little fish that's below the sea level. We can have things that are above the sea level. So it says the fish is staying in the same place, not moving forwards or backwards. Well, if our keyword was below sea level, we're not talking about forward or backwards, so no. The fish is at ground level. Well, do we see fish on the ground? Hopefully not. And we don't see that keyword in here, so no. Johnny, sorry, that shouldn't say Johnny, that should say fish. The fish is at sea level. Yeah, we're talking about the sea. Yes, that is correct.